Hey gang, Jane here. Have you been dreaming of making a granny hexagon blanket but feeling overwhelmed by where to begin? Today's video will walk you through those first important steps and help you start with confidence. From choosing your colors, figuring out the size, and working out your layout. It all starts here. In this video, we're kicking things off with the all-important planning phase of our Meadow Blossom blanket, exploring color choices, layout ideas, sizing, and how to create a balanced palette before we begin joining. I'm breaking the join process into 4 videos so we can take our time and walk through each step together. This one is all about laying the groundwork and prepping our full and half Meadow Blossom hexagons so we're ready to join with confidence in the next step. And these planning tips work for any blanket project. Whatever motifs you're using, they'll help you create a layout that feels balanced and intentional in your colors. So let's jump in. We're going to begin with color. For my version, I wanted to go with a palette of calm blues, soft greens, and add in some earthy neutrals. It's soothing, grounded, and has a really peaceful flow. I love how these tones work together to create a gentle, natural feel that still has interest and depth. The feeling I'm going for is gentle, wind down, curl up and read a book. That's the kind of vibe I'm trying for here. I start by playing around with my swatches to see what feels good. I try to keep it under 10 colors, but I allow myself to play with more than that, and then I'll narrow it down. I will also pull colors from my shelf to see what I have on hand because I always like to challenge myself to work with what I already have instead of hitting the yarn store again, but I really do like to hit the yarn store. I'm sure you can relate. While I'm deciding on my colors, I'll make a few square samples to get a feel for the design and to see how the colors work together in it. I'll swap out colors and add new ones as I go if something isn't working for me. This is the experimental stage before I commit to the project. It's all part of the creative process and I try not to overthink it, I just follow the feeling. So for example here, I started with a very soft pastel blue, almost greenish in tone, but it felt a little too airy and wasn't vibing with the other colors that I wanted. I also tried adding in a darker blue and a deep green, see if I could ground it a little more, but both of those ended up feeling a bit too heavy. Since I was aiming for an overall soft and gentle tone, I didn't want anything jumping out too much. I really want the whole blanket to have a calm and subtle feel. I felt a little bit like I might be going middle of the road here, but it just seemed to work. I'm still working with 10 colors, but they're all within a range that feels calm. I'll let the colors sit with me for a little longer while I decide how many squares I'm going to need, and this means I'm going to need to decide the size of the blanket I want. I was thinking of a width somewhere in the ballpark of 40 inches wide and a length of 50 inches or more. Hexagons are not as straightforward as squares to measure, obviously, but I can get pretty close. The width is the one that I want to focus on getting right because with the Jago method, I have a little more flexibility on how many number of rows I use because I can change that later on. So the width of my Meadow Blossom hexagon from edge to edge is 6 inches. And then I'm going to add a ½ inch to accommodate for my join as you go method. So I'm going to go with 6 hexagons across, and that should give me close to 40 inches. Keeping in mind there'll also be a border on this blanket as well, so that helps with the sizing. Length is trickier as the rows are staggered, so measuring from point to point on the hexagon comes out to 7 inches, and then you add the length of one straight edge, which is another 4 inches, and then approximately about an inch for the join method here because it's going to be joined in more than one place. So this comes out to every 2 rows will give me 12 inches in length, approximately. Working this way, 9 rows should give me 54 inches, I hope. But again, length is flexible and I can always change the number of rows later because of the join as you go method. We've decided 6 full hexes across and 9 rows down, so the layout will be 6 hexagons on the first row, and then it staggers to 5 full hexagons with half hexes at each end. This calculates out to 50 full hexagons and 8 half hexes total. Now I have an idea of how many hexagons I need, and I think I've come to a decision on my colors, although I may change my idea as I go. But for the most part, I've decided on the colors I'm going to work with. So now I can get organized. To start with, I often make my centers first. This ensures I keep the colors balanced throughout the blanket. I do just wing it sometimes, but then I'll usually favor certain colors, so not as much balance happens when I do that. Both methods work, but you get to choose. So in this case, I have 10 colors that I've decided on, plus the white, and I need 50 full hexagons. So I will work 5 centers of each color, and that should give me 50. I can work with the half hexies now, or I can do them later after I'm working on the layout part, but I usually just work them randomly as there are only going to be 8 of them. So I'll work them in whatever colors I feel like. But for now, I'm going to focus on the 50 full hexagons to ensure that we have color balance in this blanket. I use binder rings to group the centers by color just to keep them organized and to make sure that I have 5 of each. So 1 ring per color helps me keep track. So once all 10 rings have 5 centers on them, then I move to the outer rounds. So I remove them all from the rings, or I get 10 new rings, and I reload them based on this next color. In this case, I'm only using 2 colors per hexagon, plus white, of course. This color I use on round 2 will also be the color that frames the white flower, which is round 4. So I start with round 2, load them up based on this second color, so there are again 5 on each ring, and I leave them all to work later. So this method works for me because once I have all the colors established, then it's easy for me just to relax and crochet wherever, whenever I want, without having to think about what colors are coming next. So off I go and crochet my 50 hexies and my 8 random half hexies, and once I have all my hexagons finished, it's time for the next part, playing with the layout. I need a big open space for this so I can see everything all at once, and I can move pieces around like a big puzzle. Sometimes that ends up being the living room floor, a spare bed, basically wherever I can clear enough space to spread them out and nobody else is around to make a mess of them, like the cat. I start by laying them out with an eye on color balance, just trying to make sure things look evenly spaced and nothing's too clumped up. Then I tweak as I go, shifting the hexagons around to avoid having identical colors or edges right next to each other. It's a lot like a puzzle. Once you have the layout all figured out, you want to have a way that you can keep this layout but make it portable. And the method I do that with is, again, the binder rings. So I will put each row on its own binder ring and label it with a row number. Nothing fancy, I just use a sticky note and punch a hole to put on the ring as well. Super easy. These binder rings can be found in department stores. I actually found mine in the dollar store labeled as shower curtain rings. Go figure. And if you don't have rings, you can use a strand of yarn to tie your hexies together in bundles. Just make sure that yarn color is different than what you're already using in the project. Now when I'm loading my hexagons onto the rings, I do it in reverse order. So left to right across the row, because when I'm joining, I'm always starting on the right and working to the left for every single row, because you're working back across the bottom of the row before you start joining the next row of hexagons. So the hexagon on the right hand side of every row should be on the top of the pile. This way the hexies come off the rings in the correct order as you go. This makes the process smoother and it keeps everything where it should be. Alright, so now I've got all my hexagons finished, sorted, and ready to join. I'll leave you here for now. Go ahead and pick your palette, make your hexagons, and get your layout just right for you. Once you get your rows bundled up and organized, I'll meet you in the next video where we'll begin to join row 1 of our blanket in the join as you go method for the hexagons. Thanks so much for spending this time with me. If you're enjoying the series so far, feel free to tap that like button. It really helps others find these videos too. And if you haven't already, subscribe so you don't miss the next part. I can't wait to get on to the next part of this project with you. See you there.